Okay.
This dish, cauliflower cheese, you make a roux and you cook it until it doesn't hold together too much.
What's in your roux?
So a roux consists of equal quantities of butter and flour. This is just a basic roux, and I'm going to add some cheese to it to make it into a kind of cheesy sauce.
You have to keep stirring that while you're cooking it.
Must don't let this burn, whatever you do. No, mustn't burn it. And
how long does it take for the roux to cook?
only a few seconds, few minutes or so, about 2-3 minutes, and it should be all right. As you can see now, it's beginning to not follow the spoon around. It's beginning to stay where it is instead of coming in a lump with the spoon. It's breaking down, separating. What you're trying to do is to break down every grain of flour and wrap the fat around it, wrap the butter around it, so that when the liquid goes in, each grain of flour will be separated and will mix with the milk on its own and not form lumps, and you get a nice smooth sauce. So that's it. All we do now, I've got the milk getting hot here. 1/3 of the milk at once. Stir that off the heat until all the lumps have disappeared.
Is it better to do that with a spoon or a whisk?
It's better to do it with a wooden spoon. You can do it with a whisk if you feel uncertain about it, but as long as you don't put it back on the gas, as long as you don't boil it and make it too hot, then you can break down all the lumps quite easily like that. The other third of the milk, I might need some more milk, but we'll see what happens. Roughly speaking, 2 ounces of butter and 2 ounces of flour should make 1 pint of sauce. So 1 pint of milk, 2 ounces of butter, 2 ounces of flour, and you've got enough to make a sauce. This I'm doing for 3 people, and it's about 3/4 of a pint of sauce. Again, now I'm beginning to get it hotter because I want to get all the lumps out. If you don't get it a bit hotter, with the second third, there isn't enough resistance there for the spoon to break down the lumps. You must make sure all the lumps are gone. Then you can get the last third of milk in. Stir it gently at first on the gas, on the heat, to get all that milk into it. If you go too fast, it'll go out of the saucepan. So just stir it in gently like that. At this stage, it might be useful to have a whisk on it because it helps to get it in much more quickly. But you can do it all with a wooden spoon if you're careful. Now we're not going to wait for that to boil because you can see what it is. It's just the sauce there. All the lumps are now gone. And I'll leave it there to come to the boil while I get on with the next stage. So what we're going to do now is to put a little bit of this into your dish, oven-proof dish. Back on the gas to keep hot and to bring back to the boiling stage. You can see with the cauliflower, I've cut it into portion sizes. It needs to be washed, of course. So you wash it with, put it into a basin with some salt, in case there's any little bugs inside, and leave it to soak for 10 minutes or so. And any bugs that's in there with the salt water will drop to the bottom. And there are very often slugs inside. So then, instead of pouring the water off, you lift the cauliflower out of the salt water and put it into another saucepan to cook. When you cook it, put it into boiling water. Just have the water barely covering the cauliflower, and you can, it's not a wise thing to have a lid on it, But you can get a piece of kitchen paper like that with a hole in it and place that over the cauliflower in the water, make it wet, and that will trap enough heat and steam on top of the cauliflower to cook it.
When you put salt in the water or not?
You can put salt in the water as a matter of choice. It doesn't make a lot of difference. All that salt does is raise the temperature of water about 2 degrees. So it doesn't do a lot of good. It makes a difference to the flavour, of course. Some people say it's better without salt.
Do you have cheese in that sauce or not?
Not yet, but I'm going to put the cheese in now because we're going to coat the cauliflower with it. Just about a heaped tablespoonful of cheese. And at this stage, you can never be sure how thick your sauce is going to be.
What kind of cheese are you using?
Well, your best cheese is Parmesan. This is Emmendale, but cheddar cheese is all right. You can grate cheddar cheese up, it's okay. But the best cheese is Parmesan. It's a hard cheese and ideal for gratining. But that sauce was a wee bit too thick, so I've put now a little drop more milk in it to slacken it down a bit. Now, the other thing is you want a small amount of seasoning in there. At this stage, I wouldn't think it was quite, for my taste, I would think with the cheese, it's seasoned enough. But if you do, then the stock seasoning, as you remember, is 3 of sugar, 2 of salt, and 1 of pepper. Mix them both together, all 3 together, and that's a stock seasoning you can have in the kitchen, or keeping it ready all the time. So,
surprised to hear you have salt in, sugar in it.
Well, I know a lot of people don't do that, but there's so many. It helps to reduce the amount of salt you put in. So, which is the most harmful to you, salt or sugar? I don't know. Right, so a little drop of seasoning.
So that's sugar, salt and pepper there, huh?
Sugar, salt and pepper, right. Now, we coat the sauce. It's better to take a spoon to coat it with. An ordinary spoon rather than a wooden spoon. Let it fold over, so a spoonful like that. Let it fold over and let it drop down over the cauliflower. Get a nice coating on it. All around the sides. Make sure all the cauliflower is coated in sauce. That's lovely, okay. Now all we need to do is to put some cheese on top and it's ready to go in the oven. You can either go in a hot oven near the top shelf, as high as in the oven as you can get it, or you can simply put it under the salamander or under the grill and grill it. If you put it in the oven, you need a very hot oven, and of course you only leave it in there till it's coloured, because everything is cooked that's in it. But it does tend to give it a more overall colour if you put it into the oven rather than under the grill. If you put it under the grill, then you need to make sure it goes down low. So, an oven high, the grill low. That gives you a better spread of the colour. Okay? Right, I think that's 1, 2, 3. Is it? We've done? Yeah? We've done 3? Yeah.